Welcome to Wrestling and Everything Coast to Coast with your host, Buddy Sotello Esquire, the esteemed Mike Lano, and our special guest for this evening, AC Anthony Carty. Thank you very much for being here this week. And me and Anthony go back quite a ways, actually. We're both from Marin County, and one day I walk into a Safeway, and I'm wearing my All Pro Wrestling t-shirt, and Anthony, AC, starts up a conversation with me. And that was about, I'd say about 14 or 15 years ago that we did that. And one thing led to another, and you were telling me all about how much you were a big fan of All Pro Wrestling and Buddy Sotello. And I helped drag you into the business, and got you, I think you basically got started, and everything has moved on since then. And also, AC is a World Beard competitive champion. So, are you a title holder at this stage?
Yeah, I'm 3-time national champion, and I'm second in the world.
So you
look like you could be El Hijo de or a brother character in the Biz for Matt Cross, who was, of course, in Lucha Underground.
He's got a much smaller beard.
Yeah. I think because we can't even see the full extent of it.
Yeah, it's,
okay.
I think it's about 18 inches now, but it's not the length that counts for my category because there's categories to it. I do beard art with all my hair. Yeah, it's weird.
I've seen some competition with that where they put figurines and characters. They get real creative, different parts of the country or the globe too. I guess in Europe it's got to be big.
Yeah, when I got second in the world, it was over in Belgium. That's where I went for it. Yep. It's
So Worker, let me just ask before I ask you guys a couple of questions. Does it ever get in the way, or are you fearful that stuff might get pulled out, like guys with long hair? I'd probably tie it back if I was working. So does it ever interfere, or no?
With wrestling or just in life in general?
In a match, somebody accidentally being too snug with a headlock or something.
Well, AC's a manager that, he's like,
he takes bumps. I didn't know he was a worker manager. We didn't establish that.
No, yeah, I'm a working manager. By the end of the night, I'm usually the one getting my ass kicked. It works. But yeah, the beard gives them an extra thing to grab onto. And it's been in direct contact with many people. That's usually how they grab me by. I
say though, if you were there and at the Sparky's great shows on Pacifica and stuff, Shotzi Blackheart did. I had to come every time, and I've been providing photos as still freelance for WWE since '83 of Shotzi. Now they're finally going to give her a push, and we're hearing a title run. So hopefully Shotzi at least got some headlocks on you before she had to take off and go to NXT.
Yeah, before she signed with the company, she was feuding with Kiko, and that's who I was managing.
Right. I got photos of you at Sparky's shows. What a cool place. That place kind of looked like, what is it? I can't remember. It's been a couple of years because I moved to SoCal. But it's like a dragon heart, or it's a dragon thing that the talent walk out of, the mouth.
No, it's
Masters of the Universe.
It's a Castle Grayskull is what we'd walk out of.
Is the school still functioning? Because Sparky said he was worried he might get booted out because it was a closed, abandoned school, and I thought it was perfect. He had tons of space. He had memorabilia, gimmicks all over the place.
Yeah, he's not there anymore. I think he's in a different location in Pacifica, where he's just basically turned into a gym. He's not holding shows anymore, to my knowledge.
Really?
Let's take one moment. Let's take one moment and explain who Sparky is to the people who are not in Northern California. First of all, I've got to say this, that I've spent a lot of time in professional wrestling in Northern California, and I have never met someone that got along with everybody as well as Sparky. Sparky is the man with no heat anywhere and has no enemies because he's the nicest guy you could ever possibly meet.
He's been perhaps one of the best independent referees in the world for years. He took his name from the Ballard twins, Shane and Shannon, who started at Rick Bassman's UPW.
And have been a guest on the show. Shannon was.
I mean, I've known him forever too.
And part of the Sotello Syndicate. Let me add that in there too. Shannon was part of the Buddy Sotello Syndicate.
Yeah, he went to Hood Slam though. He did quite a few different characters. He was a masked heel referee. AC, I don't know. You've been to Hood Slam, have you not?
You've been in Hood Slam.
Sparky was El Sparko.
Yeah. So, but anyway, he took over APW's boot camp when Roland Alexander passed away, and moved it from our Hayward facility there off Cabot to where he is in Pacific, that initial place, which was awesome. And he works in tandem with Marcus Mack for APW, the promotion. So it kind of split in two. Marcus was the last booker for Roland, and Sparky's done a fantastic job and had put on incredible shows with all kinds of talent. Lots of guys that came back to APW that had heat with Roland came and started working for Sparky. They didn't work for Marcus like Mr. Primetime, but MPT came down, worked on Spark shows, lots of great talent.
Everybody has worked for Sparky, and everybody wants to work for him. Because
everybody loves Sparky, gets along, as you said, is a terrific, terrific guy. And he is, he was coming, I didn't think he went this year, but he went to a zillion Cauliflower Alleys, and he was usually head ref. He was, the main guy. And I would do my shot for PWI magazine every year. I would have like 15 refs all putting a headlock on each other in the ring or doing something with each other. And Spark was always, I wanted him front and center. So great.
Tell me, because I don't even know how you first got started in with your love of wrestling. How did you actually become a wrestling fan?
It's just been there my whole life. I don't really exactly know when it happened. I know it was Saturday mornings that I used to watch it with my mom, and my grandma used to watch WCW with me. But I don't know exactly. It's just been my whole life. I don't know. I can't pinpoint a time that was the start of my fandom of pro wrestling.
Let me ask you, did you go to the two APW Cow Palace shows that were like 4 years ago?
I worked both of them. Okay,
because Bob Mold, who's a longtime friend of mine, he was with Husker Du and all that stuff. He went to both of the shows, but he's been in the newspaper. He's got a new album and a tour out, a safe tour. I think he's performs in a bubble, like I can't think of that other band, that big time band that do that. Oh, the Flaming Lips do that. Yeah. The lead singer, Coyle. But he was asking what's going on. Is Marcus promoting any shows? Because he lives in the Bay Area. And there's another famous rock guy that was coming to APW shows. Was he wasn't with the Misfits. What was he? I can't think of.
Rancid.
Yeah, Rancid. Lars Fredrickson.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you seen or talked to Lars lately? Because according to my knowledge, only Jerk White, BTW, is putting on any shows. There's no live shows. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Kirk White is like on a list of like six guys.
About him. Let's not give him any PR. I'm just saying Sacramento.
Yeah, he's one of 6 guys that's not welcome on the show.
APW is not running any live shows yet. They're waiting to be safe. They're being cautionary. I don't know if actually White, to his credit, was doing
shows coming up.
Oh, so they are. Is this their show or have they
show vaccination? You have to show vaccination cards to get in.
Good, yeah, because that are they still on 4th Street? Because that place could get. I mean, that was packed. That was always packed with people.
I'm not exactly sure of the venue, but I know it's in Oakland.
Okay, so it may not be the same.
November is the next show.
So tell us all how you got started and what your origin was in getting started in wrestling.
Okay, so like you mentioned. You said 13 years ago, but it's closer to like 20, honestly, when you walked in the state.
Please. My kids weren't around, so it's got to be over 10 years at least. So.
Yeah, a decade before your kids, honestly. I was probably like 19, 20 when you came into a Safeway because I was working at the time. I got hired by the same person who fired Crash Holly, by the way. That was the Safeway connection.
Wow, I didn't know that.
I'm not sure exactly how me and you got started on a pro wrestling conversation, but you invited me.
Well, I was wearing my T-shirt. I remember and I went through your aisle, and you were like, "Hey, man, you're Buddy Sotello," you know, and the
I didn't know
conversation.
Wait. So what's the Safeway connection though? That's not who fired? We're talking
Well,
about
AC works at Safeway in Mill Valley. Not to totally blow your kayfabe-ness, but
yeah, that's what I was working now.
Well, he runs the Safeway. We'll put it that way. Okay, so but
Yeah.
but who fired Crash? Are we talking strictly Safeway, or it's somebody in wrestling?
No. The person that I don't remember the dude's name because it's been so long. But the person who hired me on at Safeway, when I told him I was a fan, brought up that he fired the person, Crash Holly.
Mike Lockwood, and Russ knows. I spoke at his funeral. I was one of the last guys to talk up on the podium. Yeah. Which was horrific, and I didn't want to go for a number of years. It brought back bad memories, but Sparky, nagged me to come out there, and then we started having the West Coast Hall of Fames there. But I'll shut up and let you guys go back to it.
Yeah, so I met Buddy 20-ish years ago, and I honestly at the time I knew what the dirt sheets were, I knew what internet was, but I never attended indie wrestling or seen anything other than WCW or WWE, and you invited me out to work the show for APW. It was like Mare Island or whatever that place is called out in Vallejo, and that was my first indie show. And it was I was pretty hooked from that point on. But like originally, I wanted to be a wrestler, but I procrastinated, and then I finally came in about 10 years after that fact. So it's been 20 years since I met you, buddy.
God, that just blows me away. Like time, you get reminders of like the time keeps moving forwards, and so you've become a really effective manager. Tell me how you got trained and how your thoughts came into your character, who is really unique. Why don't you explain your wrestling managerial character and how you got the inspiration for it?
Yeah, so originally I didn't come in like normal people where you just go to schooling first as far as like wrestling school. Even though I always wanted to be involved or whatever, I started a similar to what you guys are doing now, but I started a pro wrestling show out of San Francisco State, but it's solely radio where I was just bringing in indie guys every week and interviewing them out of character and whatnot. And Roland took notice and he invited me out to his school and his shows. And he brought me in as the backstage announcer for his weekly YouTube show, Gym Wars. And from there, I got I met Jay Biggs, which was a ring announcer at the time in NorCal, and he needed someone to replace him for Devil Mountain Wrestling. I'm just bringing up all these names from the past.
Oh man, Devil Mountain! I haven't thought of Devil Mountain Wrestling in years.
Who's the promoter for that? I can't even recall.
It's Hellfire was the name of the guy. He was a worker. So he was the promoter for them at the time. It's run out of the YMCA in Martinez, California.
And wasn't Dante involved in Devil
Never
Mountain?
met Dante. So he might have been, but I never met him. And so I was ring announcing for them for a year and a half, 2 years, while coinciding with Gym Wars. I really was not good as a backstage announcer starting out. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing, and like me trying to script it was not working with my mentality. I couldn't remember word for word. Like even to this day, if you give me a script, I'm not remembering it. Give me bullet points, I'm gonna fucking. Sorry, I don't know if this is like a.
I cuss all the time. I cuss all the time.
Yeah.
Russ never cusses, but I do.
Yeah. I don't work blue. Buddy never works blue.
Yeah. I mean, when the red light's on, no curse words come out. But when it's not on, like if it's just a podcast or a web show, whatever, like it might come out. But yeah, so I was doing backstage announcing and a ring announcing for Devil Mountain Wrestling, and then Butch contacts me, or I contact them, or Buddy contacts them, one or the other. They need a manager. Oh no, you wanted me to come in with the Sotello Syndicate.
That's right. Yes, to be because I was transitioning out and I needed someone to use the guys in wrestling for charity. Right up there. So we wanted to get you to be sort of like take over my guys because I couldn't really manage that much because a lot of stuff was happening in San Jose, and my girlfriend, now wife, was like saying, I don't want you to do so many shows because I was doing them once a month with California Championship Wrestling and going all the way to the middle of California, you know, to do those shows, like 3-4 hour drives, do the shows, get beaten up, drive back home, and I wasn't earning any money. And my wife was saying, or my girlfriend at the time, now wife, was saying, you know, get a real job and stop being out all Saturday nights. So I needed an alternative. I needed somebody to take over for me, and AC did such a good job of that. But tell the audience about your character and your wrestling managerial character, because it's very different. And I always thought it was really unique, and it was getting over really well just before the pandemic hit.
No, yeah, it was had a gradual deterioration of my mentality to go along with it. Like it started off with the Sotello Syndicate, and I was reigning supreme with the Syndicate with the wrestling for charity, and I became like the always dapper and debonair because I didn't have that much facial hair at the time. I only had like a mustache, and I won some stupid internet award because I had people vote for me, and I just brought that into the ring all the time, saying I had like the best mustache. It was pretty stupid, but it got over. People hated it, and I just dressed nicely. Same thing. It's basically I would just present myself how I would at an actual beard competition, but just gave myself the Marin flair of like all the douchebags I have to deal with in this county, from Safeway and everything. It's just like I'm richer than you, I'm better than you. I have better facial hair. It's dumb, right? So, but it worked, and but the longevity of the character, I'll just slowly lose my mind. And then when I got brought in to work with Sparky, Doc Atrocity brought me in to be
Shane
his
Dynasty for those
Shane
people.
Dynasty, Doc Atrocity, yeah, many names.
You know Shane, right? Mike, you know Shane.
I know everybody from day one there. Shane started, I think, around 98, 99.
A long time, yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to get him on the show. By the way, that's a different story.
Is he up in Sac or Reno?
Yeah, he's up in
Sacramento.
Reading.
Towards the very end, when just before we lost Roland, and I don't think I had more fun, at least independence. And I've shot them all over the world. I've shot in Japan, many tours, and Mexico, obviously, but those are bigger promotions, in Europe. But Philly, when the ECW was going, and I'm talking about at the very get-go. I was there when it was just Eastern Championship, feuding with Dennis Coraluzzo's group. But at Gym Wars, we just had a blast when they started. It was always a blast to shoot, to have fun. I don't know how many of those. Actually, I was going to ask before you go more into your characters. So who broke you in? Who were some of the guys that were training you, if you had the training either at APW or Sparky's?
The thing was with the training, because I got brought in through my schooling from San Francisco State just solely as a backstage announcer. So the first few years that I was working, I didn't actually go through the wrestling training, so to say. And so like people look at you differently, obviously, but a lot of people didn't know I didn't go through the training either. So when I got divorced, I'm like, I need something to fill my time. So I actually went through the Hell Week, went through all a year and a half of training through Sparky's boot camp, and it went through that as well, just to try to earn my stripes, just to prove that I belonged. Yeah.
But what's happened to JJ Perez? He was like, I think, the last head trainer at APW, if I'm not mistaken. And then this guy, this brilliant guy with a brilliant mind for a young guy, he's like gone. And I keep saying, geez, we ought to have these APW reunions. Try to get everybody who was anybody back for like
Mr. Wrestling 4, right? He was.
Yeah, he did that. But before that, he was the ultimate face. I don't think he ever worked heel for Roland at any of the big sold shows.
Super nice guy. I'd love to get him on the show too. He's another guy that
we have a magician that the AC may have heard of.
Mayock.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many of them. I mean, I keep in touch. Is that Seymour Snott is in North Carolina working those crazy indie shows where all the characters have insane names. It's sort of like, the Johnny Legend stuff where they all have these goofy Andy Kaufman work names.
Well, and also, Hood Slam. In fact, you've done a number of Hood Slam shows, right?
No, I've never worked them. I've attended many, but I've befriended a lot of people that work for them, but I've never actually worked an actual Hood Slam.
Right. Did you do a Punch Slam in Petaluma?
Oh, it's not Punk Slam. What are they calling that? That's Phoenix Pro Wrestling now.
Phoenix?
Yeah. Phoenix Pro Wrestling is at the Phoenix Theater in Petaluma. Yeah, when I debuted there, I knew I was like actually onto something because that's more of the darker ringmaster character. When I debuted there, someone actually there's no alcohol served there either, by the way. So I pissed off the crowd so much that people like a person. Oh, my dog's mad right now too. He's like listening to me. So a fan jumped the rail trying to get in the ring just to attack me. I'm like, yes, this is great.
Wow.
Yeah,
I interrupted some kid's birthday, and I told him to get the hell out of the ring, basically. And then I came out 5 minutes later. I'm like, oh, in case you didn't remember who I was, I ran down all these like nicknames. I just gave myself on the spot, and I pissed them off. One of my team won. It happens.
Let me go ask for some news because I know the Giants now are in the wild card. They won big. The Dodgers.
You were just there today. You were in
the division.
Did you go?
That's baseball.
But who won the Niners Seattle game?
Don't get me started.
When I looked at the score, the Niners were down by like half the other team's score.
We lost. I'm gonna focus on the Giants.
Evan Ginsberg's coming back next week when we tape, so everybody should know he's going to be coming back. He's trying to get his publisher Jeff Archer is really ill right now. I don't know if he's got shingles or something. It's not COVID, but that's why the delays are happening. That's why Evan's not. Anyway, so he's coming next week. That's why he's not been on the show for a while. And we'll throw it back to you guys. I was going to talk about a couple of things about this draft. Anybody, we're going to get off topic and then get right back to AC. But you guys watching this draft, it seems kind of boring. Nothing is happening.
I hate those drafts. Oh, who's this?
You got to chime him down because he's barking for no reason.
What's the dog's name?
Winston.
He is adorable. He is adorable.
Household before me.
That's a gimmick there. Nobody's brought an animal to the ring in a number of years. Maybe Winston could.
British Bulldog.
Yeah, he could.
Oh, yes. The British Bulldogs did
perfect.
that.
He could pee
Matilda.
The baby face or something.
Oh, no, there is someone with a dog now. It's John Morrison's wife. I don't remember her WWE name at the moment, but she has like a miniature.
She only does her NXT name is Frankie Monet. The longtime one is Taya Valkyrie, but and neither one of them is her real name because I know her. But she sometimes, it's only been a couple of times she's brought what is it, a Chihuahua or something? It's really tiny.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, and I think she brought it once on Impact, and then Johnny Bravo kept bringing the fake one. Let me ask you what your routine is watching wrestling. Are you watching, like, Impact is almost a full day on Thursdays. It's the 4-hour-old pay-per-views. If you didn't pay for them, now you can watch them in their entirety.
I used to watch it during the pay for $10 a week.
Yeah, that was good when they Jeff Jarrett started. It was Wednesday pay-per-views, no TV.
It's better.
Very cool. But now, are you going through the whole thing of at times, and it's improved the last 2 weeks, but most of the time Raw is a 3-hour bore fest you can fast forward through. Tuesdays, NXT, we can get into how they've effed that up now by trying to make it all about the no-name talent. So we're not going to see Kushida's anymore. They had him drop the strap. I'm pretty sure he's going back to New Japan, which is a crime. Wednesday, fantastic AEW, as is Fridays with the other AEW show, Rampage. SmackDown, good show. Thursdays, though, all day. So there's 4-hour Impact or an old TNA pay-per-view, then a before the Impact, 2 hours Impact, and then an hour best of somebody. Like last week, they had best of Frankie Kazarian. So it's like an all day, 12 in the afternoon Pacific time to 9 at night that you can watch that. But we used to have Lucha from CMLL Mexico City on the weekends. That's all gone on US TV until somebody restarts something else. There is Ring of Honor. If you have DirecTV or you live in a city with Sinclair, you can get the hour of Ring of Honor, which is always incredible. So out of that, AC, what are you watching? I know Buddy's not watching most of it.
Honestly, I'm not watching the majority of it. If I watch anything, I'll oh my God, my dog's going crazy. I'll watch some AEW. I don't spend my time watching too much pro wrestling anymore. TNA or Impact Wrestling lost my attention probably a decade ago, and I hear it's really good now, but I just can't justify tuning in. I don't think I have the channel for it anyways, honestly.
It's Axis, AXS, and you can actually watch it. If you
I don't believe I have a channel for it. Like I'll read.
You can watch it online.
On everything through like reading all the results, but I don't have the time really to dedicate to watch 20 hours of wrestling. Like if it's on and I have nothing better to do, or this dog's not like yelling at me to go outside or walk, this dog shouldn't be as athletic as he is. Honestly, he's supposed to be a bulldog, so he's supposed to be like, oh, I'll walk around the block and be tired. No, this dog's not. He's crazy. I'll take him to my other job. I bartend now, and recently he jumped up onto the bar. I couldn't believe it. He should be like a luchador, but he's from
You know, here's one of the things that I would like to point out to Mike too, which is it's more affects you and me, AC, because we're here in the Bay Area, but there's so much good sports on right now with what's going on in the Bay Area, whether it's the Warriors or whether it's the Giants, that it's hard to take the time out to watch wrestling because you have to watch so many hours of wrestling to get one or two good matches in.
Here's the thing. I was telling somebody about it recently, how pro wrestling is. Yeah, I'll watch WWE because that's been the standard for my whole life, but I'm rarely super entertained by it. But I think AEW is more of like the love letter to the pro wrestling fan. That's how I see it.
And Next was too until they screwed it up. But
there's another good one. Like I was going to say, if you miss even AEW, you can go online. You can go online for MLW for some of the best of New Japan and Impact. If you don't have that access channel, the reason they're good, so they have their whole shows online for free, from what I understand. But the reason they're good now is because Tony Khan of AEW, who grew up as a wrestling fan, he did it the right way, like we all did. It is a love letter. He's got unlimited funds through his dad, and he's put together an incredible array of talent. But he's finally got, because when they formed AEW, they really pissed New Japan off. But now New Japan is back because they need help in the U.S. touring. And then you have Impact in the fold, and NWA, which Billy Corgan's doing an exceptional job at. That's online to watch for free. So there's all this talent stuff. So all of Impact, which had a not a very good talent pool about 9 months ago. Now they benefit from having some great New Japan guys come in, some AEW guys. Of course, they have Christian from AEW as their champ. Some NWA stuff is going to be happening. Thunder Rosa is going to come in. So, who was a Bay Area girl? How many times did we see that trio of NorCal girls? Thunder Rosa.
You worked a number of shows with Bailey and with Thunder Rosa. With Wrestling for Charity.
Was already gone. She was already gone. I don't think she ever worked with them.
I've worked on shows with Bailey before.
Yeah.
That show that Buddy refused to take the stink face, that was the show that I worked with Bailey on.
Rikishi. We had Rikishi on the show. Why don't you regale that particular story? Because that's kind of fun.
Is that CCW or what was that?
No, Wrestling for Charity here.
Yeah, my debut for Wrestling for Charity, I was the sub manager to the syndicate. Clean face, baby face, no hair on my face besides my eyebrows. And so earlier in the day or whatever, they said, "Okay, buddy, you're taking a stink face." And he got super mad. He's like, "I'm not taking that shit. Blah 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 blah. I'm not having that in my face." And then I straight up said, "I'll take it." I just walked up. I'm like, "I'll take it. I don't care. I know it's going to be the pop of the night. I'll take it. It's going to be disgusting. Whatever. People are going to fucking love it. I'll take it. It's my debut. I need to go big or go home." And so I ended up.
Wait. It was from Bailey? That would be a pleasure if it was from...
No, it's from Rikishi.
I know. It wasn't from Pam, though.
No.
No.
After the fact, by the way, I'm not sure if it's Marcus or it's Rick, because they used to work shows with Rikishi down in SoCal at Knox Pro. Right. But he told one of them that he always packs 3 pairs of of thongs or whatever. One that he washes after every show, one that he washes after a week, and one that he never washes, depending on how much of a prick he thinks he's working against. And I'm not sure if this is a plus or a negative, but he didn't have a thong on when he stink faced me. So I don't know how much Buddy pissed them off. So thanks.
You're welcome. Yeah, no, that was look. Rikishi was. Let's be honest. He was pretty much a jerk at the show. I mean, he showed up like super late.
He was fine with me. I don't remember how late he was, but he was cool with me because I was getting my ass in his ass in my face. So he was cool with me. I can't speak anything negative towards him. Like I don't remember smelling anything after the fact, so I'm cool with it. You know.
He's got attitude. He's a star. He was a big star. Right? But he grew up in the Bay Area. I remember him as teeny little kid at the Cow Palace. But on that card, who did Pam Russell then? Let me know who Bailey, the later Bailey, Davina Rose.
That's really a good question. Who was the person that she would have gone against then?
Candice LeRae?
I don't even remember.
No. I think it may have been Christina Von Eerie.
Oh, okay. Christina was a good kid. What happened to her? She got married and moved up to Canada, guys. Like, I don't know if it was Quebec.
I don't know, but she was super nice. I really liked. I worked a couple shows with her. I worked directly against her in when we did the show over at Great America, and she is a super professional, and she could have probably, she kind of missed out on how women are now really getting pushed in wrestling. She sort of got out.
It right. Because Jeff Jarrett put his strap on her when they had the GCW Global come in to invade TNA towards the end of TNA when Jarrett made his last return.
But the height of the popularity.
But Chris, no, it wasn't the height of popularity then.
She just missed it, I think.
She missed it. She missed what's going on now, but there's no reason with that look and the mohawk and stuff. Like the last time we saw her, we were at the couple of those Hall of Fame. So, AC, you had to have gone to some of these Hall of Fames we've had, the West Coast.
Yeah, I've worked with a couple of them.
Yeah. I got inducted. I inducted Meltzer.
Mm-hmm.
I got inducted the year before with Alan Bolte and stuff, and they were fun. Those were the Modesto ones, and then they were at Sparky's place.
Yeah, I worked the one with Sparky's spot. I worked with Jekylls versus someone. Who was he working at? Might have been. I think it's him versus Sledge. Honestly. Is the show that the Hall of Fame I worked on?
Was that the one where it like poured rain? It was like a 2.5 hour drive in the pouring rain to Stockton or Modesto, wherever the hell it was, for those of us coming out from the East Bay, and it was that long because everybody was going like slug's pace. But do you guys know, have they even done one in the last 3-4 years since the last one I was at 4 years ago?
Virtual one last year. They're doing one every year.
One, it was totally dedicated to Virgil Flynn, right?
What's that?
It was totally primarily dedicated to Virgil Flynn, the last one they had. Was that last year or the year before, 2019 maybe?
That was before pandemic.
Okay. Yeah.
It's great that you bring up Virgil. I mean, of all of there's just some people in the world that I can't believe are gone, and Virgil Flynn is one of the guys. I have a hard time.
What did he? It was a heart embolism or something. It was such a sweet.
Yeah, it was a stroke.
Because I have shots. He started. I think he wasn't he? Didn't he start with iron, or he finessed at iron? And he was on.
He did a lot of work over at California Championship Wrestling. He was our first, our mid-level champion. He was our first mid-level champion, and he was super nice guy, and a guy that was
very talented.
Super faithful. I mean, really believed in, was a really religious guy, but not in your face religious, and just a family guy, and just such a tragedy to live. And it didn't even have anything to do with drugs or living a hard life or anything like that. It's just like with Mark Smith, just a guy whose number just came up too early, and proving that nobody lives forever. And he couldn't have been in better shape, or he never did any drugs or drank or anything like that.
Body fat on him. Remember how skinny he was?
Perfect shape. Perfect shape.
I've never seen someone's death on a personal level affect so many people, honestly. Because like you said, he was like one of the nicest people I've ever met, for sure. Like he would get to the venue every time I worked on a show with him, like legit 10 minutes before he had to go out to the ring, and he'd pull off like match of the night every time without time to prep the match, which was like crazy. Like, we're like,
it wasn't because he was late. It wasn't because he was late because he was lazy. He was usually working like right before the show.
I just said he's late. Just show up with minimal time before having to go out there.
But that's old school because in my day, AC, in the 60s, 70s in the locker room, those guys would be playing pinochle or Ernie Ladd's case, maybe chess or checkers or cribbage and bullshitting and, maybe smoking a doob or having a beer. And then they would just go out and the heel, whoever was the senior, like a Ray Stevens, would just call the match and 4 or 5 star matches.
Yeah, but that's when everything was just punches and kicks and chokes.
Yeah.
You had guys like Mascaras. You had some guys that were doing a lot of spots. Earl Maynard, a Mr. Universe, African-American guy, or Dory Dixon, who was a black guy, but he competed most of the time in Mexico. Those guys were doing spots, not like what we're seeing with
not like Virgil did. Virgil really
nobody was doing that shit back then. But there was psychology, and those guys had aura. When I shot a riot at the Chicago Amphitheater with Dick the Bruiser and the Crusher against Ray Stevens and Nick Bockwinkel and Stevens dropped the tag straps. It was completely packed card. San Martino was on it. It was during that period when he wasn't tri-WF champion and stuff. But those guys with the psychology and the aura they had, because these guys were all global stars. They were all like Kenny Omega's walking around. No, granted, they weren't doing those kinds of spots, but the punch and kick shit you're talking about was primarily tri-WF. There were promotions that were very athletic. Eddie Graham, Florida, Vern Gagne, Leroy McGurk, which was a junior heavyweight.
I'm not dismissing that, but come on, we know the style of fighting style is very different.
We're talking 70s. We still had the late 70s. We had Tiger Mask and Dynamite Kid, and those matches are still, that was the hybrid style. That's what you're seeing today, and those guys were doing it in 78, 79. And it was fucking out of this world, and I can't tell you how many times back at like Todd Gordon's or Dennis Corluzzo's, and I'm there with Jim Cornette, Bobby Eaton, Eddie Gilbert, Mick Foley, Cactus, and Lawler, and sometimes Terry Funk, and we're watching that stuff from midnight to 6, all the Japan tapes in 91, 1990, 91, 92, a day or two before the show or the night before a show. We're watching that shit till 6 in the morning.
I personally think that if Virgil Flynn were still alive, AEW would be looking at him right now to put him in there. AEW is giving guys who are smaller a chance to work themselves into the shows now. The WWE was never interested in Virgil because he was too small, but Virgil had all the talent that you see right now in AEW.
Developmental to hog him, to sit on him. They would never put him on TV or anything. They did put that one guy, the guy from LA who worked all the Marcus Mack APW shows that had the feud with Jungle Boy. I can't think of the guy's name now. He's
Chris McDaniel?
No, he came out as gay on an APW show where he was second in the King of the Indies, the last King of the Indies against Dragon Lee.
Low Key?
No, he's like a Hispanic guy from
Ricky Starks.
No, I don't think I ever saw Ricky Starks. And that's another one, AC. If you get down to SoCal, you have to go to Pro Wrestling Guerrilla and see one of those spectaculars. It's just packed with talent. Japan guys, Lucha guys. They always have Pentagon and Phoenix there. It'll blow your mind.
Yeah. I know PWT. I've never made my way into one of their shows before. But yeah, I'm sure it'd be super entertaining.
It's like the main event was this guy who I can't remember his name. It'll come to me. And he was on NXT for a whole year. And Jungle Boy, that would be sometimes the main event, for the junior or cruiser secondary title in APW. But it's the opening match at Pro Wrestling Guerrilla. And then you'd have Bandolero and all this incredible talent that the short guy, I can't think of his name now. It'll come to me, who is one of the main guys in Ring of Honor. he was, in all these mains. Our Jeff Cobb was in the main event.
Yeah, Jeff Cobb. Yeah,
what a great talent and a super nice guy, but so proud to see him, big time Mr. New Japan now.
Yeah.
Sure. Now, so one thing also I always like to ask fellow managers, is what do you feel like is your secret to being a successful manager in generating heat with a crowd? How do you do that, and how do you feel that it works? What do you do that works?
Well, I wouldn't really do all the heat making. Really, it's on the managers. I'm just spices added to the mix. Ow, my dog just bit me. He's being a heel because he doesn't like me just sitting in place. He wants to play because he's just 9 months. But yeah, so I would just add to it. Like the crazier my character became, the easier it became because I didn't have to be on any kind of script. Like I was managing Jekyll's for the longest time. Oh my god, this dog's running into all the blinds. Come on, stop it. Yeah, so I'd manage Jekyll's, and he would get hurt in a match, and I'd just point at him and laugh at him. Stop. Oh my god, he just wants to play.
He's a big dog, but he's got a little dog bark, it sounds like.
He's not that big. He's only 40 pounds, but he's 9 months, and so he just wants to. I don't know what
he's gonna get bigger.
He just wants his attention. He wants his owner's attention.
Yes.
You pick him up and put him on camera again if you want.
Yeah, this guy.
Yeah.
He's got.
He's adorable.
Oh, okay. Here's the guy who was trying to recall. Jake Atlas was the guy who headlined a number of APW shows. Great talent. Jake Atlas. He was the one that was in NXT that was having the feud back here in NOR and SoCal with Jungle Boy. And Jonathan Gresham is that incredible, one of the absolute best pure workers on the planet. He has held a bunch of titles in Ring of Honor, but he's always on PWG shows with Brody King, just an F-load of incredible talent. That's all I can say. And we're blessed. So many West Coast guys, but I'll shut up and get back to you. I still think if your dog is biting you, you got to have him bite the baby faces as a heel. Have him come out with you. That way he gets quality time with you, and you get to be a part of wrestling and not ignore him.
I'd get over it in the wrong way. I wouldn't be a heel anymore if I brought my dog out. Everyone loves my dog. He's only a heel towards me. It's he won't even play by any of the dogs at the dog park, but he'll bite me. It's just to try and get a point over or something. I don't get it.
Oh wait, he could be the face. It could be an unusual combo: a heel manager and his babyface dog.
It's a new age macho man and Miss Elizabeth. He's Miss Elizabeth. Everyone loves him, and everyone hates me.
Yeah,
because you could cut a heel promo. Hey, I'm not going to feed you today, or no water for you because you bit me.
Yeah. I'll get a cat.
No water for you.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, you were saying about how you sometimes would just interact with Jekyll's and how that's one of the things I'm always interested in is how you decide it's the right time to interact and how you interact. And do you I always looked at the crowd and for some reason I think I'm skilled at this, figuring out where the pockets of hate were. Buddy Sotello's pockets of hate. You would find areas of the crowd where I knew people really, really hated me, and I would play with that crowd, and then I would, when they were thinking that they were getting the best of me, I would leave and go someplace else and take away their satisfaction for trying to get at.
For me, that didn't really work out too well because once I turned to a more crazier gimmick, I used to put colored contacts in. I'd have both eyes red or both eyes green, depending on whichever day I wanted it to be. And I was doing that technique or whatever, and I just turned around and some kid to laugh hysterically at him. So I would say my character is a mix between the Joker and Charles Manson. There's some elements of realness, but also
I thought you were kind of James Mitchell-esque too.
Yeah, so, sure, that works too. But as soon as I did that to this one kid, he had his hand out and he poked me directly right in the eye.
Ooh.
And it poked me so hard that it knocked the contact out of my eye, and I really just initial reaction is you just want to punch the kid. But it's a kid, so you don't do it. But you're just like, what the hell has happened? So I had to change my direction. So I was no longer doing your Buddy Sotello gimmick where you're waiting for which part of the crowd's easiest to manipulate. And so I just started going with whenever there's downtime, that's my cue to get the crowd pissed off. And I had different elements. Like I used to come out with like chalices of blood and I would smear blood on people. They're plants, but I would do it just to prove that there's like some weird presence in it, and people hated it or they loved it. Like it's a lot of times, I think towards the end before pandemic, I was no longer a direct heel. Like some people, like the kids, either hated it or loved me, but more than likely they hated me. But it's more of a tweener. It's like sort of a Kane essence, which made it harder, honestly. The more you're liked, it's harder to stay liked. And I didn't really like that. I like to just be hated. So like how my dog hates.
Now, can you tell me how all this stuff relates to your beard competitions? And like,
it doesn't. It doesn't at all. I mean, originally the original gimmick was the always dapper and debonair. That was exactly like a beard competition. Dressed in these nice suits, come with the pristine hair, all done up, nicely waxed or whatever. But that was just like the first year of pro wrestling once I started growing hair. After that, I delved into more crazier aspects. Granted, in professional bearding or whatever you want to call it, because it's not, I don't make any money off it. It's all for charity. Like everywhere I've traveled, it's just all for fundraisers. If it's a bigger competition, I'm coming classy. I'm like looking just like the always dapper and debonair Cold One AC. But on a grander scale, because I have a beard now and all that stuff, and I'm actually world renowned for my beard, which is still really weird. But on like the smaller scale, like Austin, Texas comps, and wherever else I might travel to, I'll do some risky stuff, and I'll come in full costume for whatever theme I choose my beard as. Like I say Austin because that's a well-known localized competition, and I have done like mini gimmicks there. Like one year I came with a love theme, so I came as what the hell is the thing? The Cupid. I came in an adult-sized diaper, and I did my beard up in a heart with an arrow through it. That's all my beard. And then the next year, I came as like an evil priest, like a hate theme, and I did a pentagram in red in my beard. And then, last year before pandemic, I came as a moth, which my main competition came as a moth also. I cannot believe that. That's never happened before. Austin, I never win in Austin because it is like the actual pristine club that you want to always win at, but I always get second. I don't get it. It happens though. It's all for charity, so I can't really get too mad at it, even though I'm a competitor through and through. It's weird.
Who made the suggestion to you to do the beard competition?
Okay, so you met me. I worked at a grocery store, but also I went to school for production and audio production. So I'm an audio engineer by trade also, and so I was working at Alice Radio 97.3 in the city for a decade, and I was running my own podcast and such. And I saw an advertisement, or I don't know how I came across it, honestly, for a bearded mustache competition at Petaluma at the Phoenix Theater, where I had a fan jump the rail trying to attack me. That was my first bearded mustache competition. And I'm like, oh, this will be good to talk about on the radio. And so I just went to it. I'm like, this is such a weird people watching experience. Not too different from pro wrestling in the sense that you see a lot of weird folks that are just like want to go watch a train wreck, basically. And I just stuck around because it's for charity. So like that's my excuse. Like if anyone talks shit on it, I'm like, oh, it's for charity. You can't talk bad on it. It was helping people out, right? But it's such a weird mix of people watching. And I'm all for people watching and seeing artistic creations because my beard as natural, this won't win anything in the natural categories, but I do all the weird beard art categories, and it's served me well, I guess. So 3 years NorCal champion, 3 years national champion.
How long does it take for you to grow a beard out like that?
The last time I shaved, when Safeway got bought out by their competition, Albertsons, March 19th, 2015. That was the last time I shaved. Yeah.
let me ask you about Safeway Albertsons monopoly thing, because where I am, Safeway is Vons, but that monopoly stuff, the staff at all the Safeways, I was on good terms because I was still doing, but I didn't have my wrestling column anymore after, I don't know, 18 years with the San Francisco Examiner, but I was doing other pieces, and I started to write about some of the shit going on at Safeway with that monopoly thing. The staff had their own monopoly, game pieces separate from the clients, the customers. And it's like they're just going, some of them thought the thing was like there weren't any actual winning tickets. Nobody I knew, because I know the people that work at the few Safeways or whatever they call them in Hawaii. I'm pretty sure they're Safeways.
Yeah.
Down here it's Albertsons Vons. Up there it was just strictly,
Safeway.
Because the Luckies in NorCal are not part of that Albertsons who purchased Safeway Vons thing. So what's your take on that briefly? And then I better go. I'm going to have to.
On the monopoly at Safeway, what's my take? I wasted my time on it the first year. I don't collect them from that point on.
I never bagel in little 69-cent containers of vinegar, white vinegar, and some cool stuff, sometimes yogurts. But that was like it. And I knew people who voraciously were playing and they were spending, $200 a week, which is easy to do in groceries. And they're going winning these prices.
It works. It worked the first few years. I'm sure it keeps getting brought back. So it must be like driving the sales up somewhat, but it keeps on extending the time period that it's around some. And I just don't take part in it anymore.
There's one instant win thing for was like a year or maybe 6 months of Peacock. And I thought, okay, great, because they're doing away with the WWE Network. I can watch that, and there's some cool programming there. And they never sent me the numerics I was supposed to use to get that award. So I got tired of fighting with corporate, which I think is out of state. Aren't they in Arizona? Where's
Phoenix? Phoenix. Well, Albertsons is Utah. It's ran by the Mormons. But Safeway originally was Phoenix.
Well, because I never did get that, and I kind of made a stink about it, and I don't know. So it kind of it was frustrating.
Honestly,
Michael Finney had done some exposés. I don't want to go off topic too much. Michael Finney had done some stuff on. It's like any grocery store. You got to look at the cash registers, make sure it's matching up. But Safeway was, getting in all kinds of trouble and stuff. At least where I am here, no problems. But
I blame the guy who fired Crash Holly. That's who I blame.
That comes full circle. So, AC, tell us what is coming up. What things are going to be coming up for you? Anything?
Good night, you guys. I got to go. Don't forget Evan's on next week. AC, a pleasure re-meeting you. I know we've met in the past somewhere.
Yeah, we've definitely met. Nice talking with you for this past hour. As far as ongoing stuff coming up, there's nothing really coming up because we just had national championships 2 weeks ago, so it's the down period for charity fundraisers. And so we just wait until I do my Bay Area competition coming up in January on the 29th in Mill Valley, of all places, because COVID rules. So we're staying out of the city to do a charity fundraiser for once in Marin.
Well, we'll definitely, you could post information about that on our Facebook page. How would people get a hold of you if they want to follow what you're doing? You've got a big Twitter following, don't you?
No, it's not Twitter. It's TikTok.
TikTok. Sorry, I'm aging myself.
It's really weird. It's for me making beard videos. But yeah, it's on TikTok. It's Tricky Beard AC. On Instagram, it's the name of my pro wrestling character, the Cold One AC. And yeah, that's basically the places to get a hold of me. Oh, and he just left. Boom.
Yes, I think he.
I noticed because my face got bigger on the screen.
Yes, but it's great to have you. It's great to reminisce with you about all this stuff. Any final words you'd like to give our fans, or anything you'd like to say to the general public about wrestling or beard growing or Safeway?
Yeah, don't shave. That's to the beard growing community. Towards the wrestling community is stay creepy and do good for people when you're not making kids cry. That's how I run my life. Because
that's great.
I like to make you kids cry, but outside of wrestling, I'll do good for the community.
Great, and it was great to see Winston too. Wonderful to introduce your dog. Get him out because he obviously needs attention. And we'll have you on the show again sometime soon. You were a great guest.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much. We'll see everybody next week. Good night, everyone.